Hola! This video is about solving equations by combining like terms, using that skill to help us solve equations. And we're just going to do one example. And here it is. 8x minus 4 minus 3x equals 6. Now, if you remember, the entire purpose of solving an equation is to figure out what does x equal. What number can I put there so that this equation works, so that it equals 6 when I calculate it? Well, the issue here is that I have two different x's. I have one by the 8 and I have one by the 3. We can't really solve an equation with two different x's. We need to somehow put those x's together. And that's where our skill of combining like terms comes in. Because they're the same variable, I can take the 8x and the negative 3x and I can combine them. I can add them together. So if I do 8 plus negative 3, that gives me 5x. This minus 4 just comes tagging along down, and it's still going to equal 6. Now that my equation only has one x in it, I can use my inverse operations just like I've always been doing. So I'm going to start with the number furthest away from my x, minus 4. Inverse of minus 4 would be plus 4 on each side. My 4's cancel out. Bring down the 5x, which is what is left over. 6 plus 4 equals 10. Now, remember, a 5 right by an x, like it is right here, means 5 times x. So the inverse of 5 times x is division. So I'm going to go ahead and divide each side by 5. 5's cancel out, and I get x equals 2. Now that my x is isolated, that's my answer, x equals 2. But before I move on, I'm going to prove it to myself. I'm going to check my answer. So start with the original equation, which was 8x minus 4 minus 3x equals 6. I need to make sure that if I take this 2 and plug it in where both of my x's are, that's important, both of the x's, and calculate it, I'm still going to get 6 at the end. So my equation stays exactly the same except for the pieces that are the x's. Those I'm going to replace with, the number 2 is the number I should be putting where my x's are. So I'm going through, I'm replacing those. And again, I want to make sure that it equals 6. And I'm going to do that by either typing this in my calculator, typing in all of this in my calculator, making sure it says 6, or I can use my order of operations. So 8 times 2 gives me 16. Negative 3 times 2 gives me negative 6. Now I can start subtracting these things. 16 minus 4 gives me 12. And 12 minus 6 gives me 6. So since I calculated it and I got 6 and it was supposed to equal 6, that's how I know I'm correct. So again, how we were able to solve this problem is by using our skill of combining like terms, which is what we did very first, where I took the two different x's and I brought them together to make only one x. That's combining like terms.